This room that we're in is kind of monumental for me because this is where I had my watch party.
Your watch party? Oh, for the...
for mayor.
You're a mayor?
Yeah.
That's great. Oh, I should mention that we're here with Karen Best in Branson, and it's the end of the year, and I thought it'd be fun to get together and talk about what's been going on in Branson, what the plans are, that sort of thing. But so you had your election. When were you officially elected? I'm not very good at this.
The election was April the 7th or 8th, and then I was sworn in the next Tuesday.
Oh my goodness, they're quick.
Yes, very quick. I thought I was going to have 3 weeks before I was sworn in. So when it was the next week, it was like, oh my, I got to get ready.
Yeah, it's like not planning for final exams.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then going and, I got 24 hours to cram. So,
yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. And so what made you want to run? I mean, my family has been in politics for years. And
I haven't.
I stay away from it because my family was in politics. I saw my grandfather actually run for election, and it was so stressful on him.
Yeah,
but what made you want to do it?
It's funny because I really, I've never had a desire to be in politics. That's never been anything on my radar. If you'd asked me this time last year, I filed 1 year ago today.
Oh, really?
And it really wasn't until about 30 to 60 days before that I had seriously entertained the idea of running. And, in my opinion, Branson was at a crossroads. You're constantly moving. You're either moving forward or you're moving backwards, but you're always moving.
Right.
And I just felt like we were moving in a backwards direction, and I wanted to see us go forward. So I kept trying to talk people into running, and I couldn't find anybody to run. And finally somebody said, I think you should run. I think you do a great job. And I was like, I don't know.
But then you saw the paycheck.
Yes, that big paycheck of $6,500 a year.
Seriously, that's what it is?
Yeah.
They make that much?
Yeah, we are in the big bucks.
Yeah.
So you definitely don't do it for the money, that's for sure. And so I, gave it a lot of thought. I prayed about it, and I just really felt like that was the direction that I could make a difference. And so, I feel you can't complain unless you've tried.
Exactly.
So
I say that all the time.
If you don't vote, you really can't complain. You can complain, but...
I don't think it's valid.
I don't think it's valid either. So.
Yeah. But so what were you seeing? I'm curious what you thought about going backwards. What did you...
I saw a lot of buildings that were, being abandoned and were sitting empty, and we weren't attracting a lot of new businesses to town and new entities and new adventures. And so being in having a real estate background, I felt like, I could bring a lot to the table in that arena. And I worked for MGM Studios in Los Angeles for 4 years, so having that background as well.
Oh, that's cool. Were you a character?
I think I felt like I was a character every day, but no, I did the special events and international publicity for them.
That would be fun.
Golden Globes was one of my babies.
Really?
So,
that's cool.
I negotiation skills is really in my wheelhouse as a real estate agent every day. So, I thought I could, negotiate to bring new businesses and new entities to town. So I felt that was a skill that I could bring to the table.
So how long have you lived in Branson?
I've been here 13 years.
13. See, I've been here 11 years. And I saw kind of what you're talking about, where several years ago there was such a fight about bringing new things in. Like people were really against it, and it was boggling my mind. Like the old school there's nothing wrong with the heritage of Branson at all.
Absolutely.
But you have to welcome new things.
Yeah, and I think that's it. You have to strive a balance. And, I've been coming to Branson since 1966, and the thing that brought me here was the beauty, the hills, the mountains, the trees, the lakes.
Right.
I mean, we have the most gorgeous postcard scenery in the world.
Yeah.
And so, protecting that while still... moving forward and growing is a balancing act that you have to do. And so, my thought was making the 76 Strip like an entertainment district. And that's where you can have the out-of-the-box types of things. But then when you're looking out, when you're coming to town from Springfield to the south or from Harrison to the north, you still see the beauty of the Ozarks when you're coming into town. So you still protect those assets that we have that's made us who we are.
Yeah, you're not paving over the walkways and the trails and stuff like that.
No, not at all.
But you have to think about the changing demographic that's coming to Branson for sure. And I know I do cruise ships part of the year, and so I'm outside of this bubble because sometimes you get trapped in that mindset. You get used to the buses and the certain crowds, but you have to recognize that you need to attract new crowds to keep the businesses going.
I just turned 56 last month, and I'm part of the baby boomer crowd. And baby boomers are not bus people.
Right.
We are not people to get on a bus tour to go somewhere.
I can't imagine doing it, to tell you the truth.
We still want to protect, like I said, the folks that have come here and the folks that continue to come here on the bus tours, but we also have to come up with something else to draw a younger demographic here.
And there's been a lot of announcements lately.
There has, and there's so many more to come.
I know. And so when we come back, I want to talk to you about what's gone on in 2015.
Okay.
And see what changes you've helped with, what you've seen, and what's going on this year. So we'll be right back with Mayor Best. Thank you for supporting All Things Branson. Be sure to subscribe and stay in touch on Facebook and Twitter. All right, we're back with Mayor Best here, Karen, and I want to talk about 2015. And you came into office, you said, in April.
Correct.
Right? But
Correct.
A lot has gone on. I mean, we've had a lot of announcements, a lot of exciting things. The Fritz Fun Park, is that what it's called?
Oh, yes. I can't wait for that to
I know,
open.
it looks awesome,
It's
to
going
tell
to
you
be
the
so
truth.
much fun.
I know. But when do they start working on that, do you know?
They have already started working on it. They've been clearing the property. It's where the old Silver Fountain Inn used to be. And so that facility is now no longer at the site. So they're prepping the site to start building. And it's going to be such a fun adventure because it's going to have rock climbing and ropes and all the fun stuff that you have that's
It's like for the whole
outdoors.
family, right?
For the whole family, except for it's going to be indoors. So on those rainy days when you're wondering what you can do because you don't want to be outside,
Right.
it's having all the fun things that are outside, bringing them indoors.
I know. I saw the pictures. It looks pretty awesome, actually.
It is extremely awesome. They have a similar type project in Pigeon Forge at the island, and that's all outdoors.
Oh, I see.
So
Is it the same company?
It's not the same company, but it's something that's kind of similar. And then in St. Louis, they have the City Museum, and it's going to be very similar to that as well.
That's
so
great.
we're kind of taking the best of everything and putting it all in one. And I have to commend the folks that put Fritz's together. It's going to be one of those things that can be open year-round.
Right.
And we're really trying to go toward more year-round entertainment to bring people in.
Yeah.
Pigeon Forge has half the population we have, but they have twice the amount of visitors.
Really?
So what are
I never
they
realized.
doing?
I've never been there.
I've done 2 trips to Pigeon Forge recently to look and see what are the best practices that they're doing that we're not doing. How are they attracting more visitors than we are? And granted, they have a little bit larger population to draw from on the East Coast.
Right.
But bringing some of those best practices back to Branson and saying how can we incorporate those. One of the fun things I did was a giant Ferris wheel, and I know there's a couple people that are looking at trying to bring the Ferris wheel to Branson.
That would be pretty cool.
So
yeah, well, we have the balloon
that
out
would be
here.
fun.
Have you
Yes.
ridden that balloon?
I have not ridden the balloon. We are actually going to ride it on January 4th along with Parakeet Pete's zip line.
Oh, really?
We've already got that on our agenda for
Got it all scheduled.
the 1st of January. We're going to start the year off with a bang and go to we're going to start it as
it's a
an
running
adventure.
gag on our show, actually.
Is it?
Because I
Oh.
live right over here. I live across the lake here, and my kids are very confused at night. They think we have 2 moons.
Exactly.
This is how-
I live 9 blocks from here, and I'm coming down the hill, and I look, and I'm like, oh, it's a nice full
it
moon
has a
ride.
name on it.
So
Yes.
yes, I have the same thing.
The kids always want to go on it, and it's always cold, so we just take them over to the Hilton and go up and down in the elevator.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Same difference.
Same thing. It's a lot cheaper.
Exactly.
But you have the Fritz opening, and then people got all excited about what do you call it? The gondola, or what would you call that?
The gondola. That
what
is
they call
that
it?
is a private funded project. So they're in their their due diligence phase.
Do you think it'll?
It's a 50-50 shot. I don't know.
I just think reading,
be fun.
it's very ambitious because the amount of I don't know,
$130 million. That's a
know.
lot of money to come up with.
I know, and to
So-
get it all the way out to Silver Dollar City, I mean, that
I
is
would love
great.
it.
It would be great, but I keep telling people it's not a public transport system, really, right?
Yeah.
Because it's going to have spots along the way. It's more of like entertainment.
It will be. However, in talking with them, they're going to try and make it affordable for local folks. So if they need transportation to and from their jobs,
Right.
they'll be able to buy a year-long pass.
Will it be practical though? Because won't they be stopping constantly?
It could still be a lot faster than sitting in your car. I had a complaint from a visitor that was here the week after Thanksgiving, and they went to Silver Dollar City on the busiest day of the year.
Right, and they
And
complained.
they went from the Branson Landing down the Strip, and it took them 3.5 to 4 hours to get there. So I would think that the gondola would be much faster. I believe, if I remember right, it's like a 45-minute ride out to the park. So
Yeah, but that reminds me of working on the showboat. I give people that after the show will say, well, we loved everything, but it was too dark to see outside. I said, well, you came at 8 o'clock at night. We have no control over that.
you should get the balloon ride to
They could do that.
light up the way. There
Yeah,
you
they
go.
could do that.
There you go. I'm real excited about Ballparks of America too.
Oh, yeah. I used to
They're
play.
getting. Did you?
Yeah,
How
I didn't, not by choice,
fun.
but yeah, I used to play.
Yeah,
So
that's-
has that started? Have they started having any games? or
They have
anything?
not started. The goal is to have 2 fields done by 2016 so that they can start bringing kids in for the summer.
Right.
And that's going to be really fun because that's bringing in a younger demographic.
Well, it'll
too.
be nice to use that property because it's just there.
Without a
And,
doubt.
Yeah, and there's so many things. You were talking about places being empty and not being developed. After the tornado, so many places have just not changed since then. I think
Absolutely.
I think there's a lot of eyesores actually. And-
There's some really neat projects that are on the drawing board that are going to be starting in 2016 or finished in 2017 that are going to take some of those properties and
clean them up a little bit.
clean them up
and actually use them. It's just a shame there's so many empty spots on the way down the
Exactly,
road now.
exactly.
And so, well, you're talking about 2016. We'll talk about that in a second when we come back with Karen Best. Thank you for supporting All Things Branson. Be sure to subscribe and stay in touch on Facebook and Twitter. All right, so 2016, you started to mention about some things going to be finished in 2016, 2017, the ballparks.
right.
But what are some other things that you foresee happening? Maybe not specific businesses or practices. Where do you see some changes?
One that I'm very excited about is a building that I sold last year, and that was the Grand Palace.
Oh, I didn't know it has been sold.
Yes, the Grand Palace was bought by the folks, Cavera Partners, that own the Hollywood Wax Museum.
Oh, right.
And they were in town a few weeks ago, and they came and showed me what their plans are for the property. And all I can tell you is it is going to be spectacular.
Really? That's
It's
all you
going to
can
be
say.
so much fun.
Yeah.
There's going to be something for every age to do. And,
Gondola rides inside with rock climbing. How about that?
no.
Oh.
But good try.
trying.
Good try. That was that was a
trying.
great try.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about them. They're doing a little bit more of their due diligence, and hopefully by the middle of 2016, they'll be able to announce what their project's going to be.
And they know what they're doing. So that's
They
nice
know-
when you have somebody
yes.
that isn't overly ambitious. Because I know it's been 3 or 4 years ago, it looked like that was going to get used for concerts and
Yes.
things like that. And that just didn't work out. I
Yes.
think somebody was in over their head on that. But
And that's
these
what
people
I
know what they're
love.
doing.
I love that about this group. They've taken their time. They've really looked at and studied what are we missing, what do we need, what will bring people to town. And so they've been very methodical, and I really appreciate about that, about Robbie and Tej. And so I saw the plans again. I think they're on the right track. It's something that's going to be phenomenal for Branson.
Yeah, I'll have to talk to
And
them, see if they give me any
Yes,
hints.
I applaud them for what they're doing. There's another group that's looking at the possibility of bringing a project on Gretna area across from the Branson Mill.
Oh, yeah? I know that
And,
project. Yeah.
That would be an amazing project as well that
It would
will draw people to town. And I don't know if you're familiar with Topgolf, but Topgolf is taking off all over the country, and everybody, including myself, has said, I want a Topgolf in Branson. Well, their biggest competitor, and I have been talking at least weekly or every 2 weeks. And so I've hooked them up with a couple of investors. And so there's a couple of spots, and they are chomping at the bits to get to Branson. So
Right.
Branson is definitely on their
Now,
radar.
what is that?
The Topgolf experience is where it's a multi-level. You have 3 floors, and they have bays where you can go, and it's kind of I want to say virtual golf, but not really virtual golf. You have you have a tee, and there are targets. Like a regular golf course. So you would look at where the green is, and the closer you get to the green, the more points you get. So there'll be a green flag.
So it's like entertaining golf.
It's
because I don't find golf entertaining
Oh, it's
at all.
so much fun, whether
Yeah.
you're a golfer or not a golfer. And they have food and drinks and all kinds of stuff, and they have pool tables. And it's really a hangout place. And the nice part is you can play against a person that's in another bay, or you can play against someone in another location.
That's pretty cool.
So if your brother or sister is in New York and you want to play them, you can go and you can be at the places at the same time and play against
It's like
each
when
other.
people play the PS4 or whatever over online. And stuff. Oh, that's
Exactly.
kinda cool.
So
That's neat.
you can make it as hard or as easy as you want. The computer can tell you which targets to hit at, and it makes it a little more difficult. But it's really fun. It's for people that know how to golf and don't know how to golf. It's fun for all ages.
Yeah, it's like a new little spin there. That's kind of
Exactly.
neat.
In
I do
fact-
zombie running. Have you ever done that?
No.
I have an app.
Oh, yes, I have.
Well, I have an app for my phone. Have you done that with the app?
I haven't done it with the app.
'Cause I hate to
I
run.
did it at a
I-
convention. I forgot. Yes.
Yeah, you run and then it's telling you a story, and if you slow down too much, the zombies
Yeah.
are catching you and you lose
Yeah.
points. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
only way
it
that I
was-
can run.
It was
so.
really fun. Well, I can tell you that my family is starting a new tradition. On Christmas Eve, we are going to be at a Topgolf location, and that's going to be our Christmas Eve with the family.
Oh, that's cool, because you guys can get together from all around.
Yeah, so
Oh, that's neat.
it'll be fun.
Uh-huh. So lots of stuff going on for 2016 here in Branson, and I'm excited about some of those changes. And I know every year people move around in the theaters and stuff, but it's good to see new
Exactly.
businesses coming in. And we're constantly having the construction. I know because I have to drive through it all the time.
We have a new show that's wanting to come to Branson too, and it involves some rock and roll folks. One of the guys that was in Bad Company and Foreigner, along with one of the Kentucky Headhunters, and I forgot the other entities, and they're wanting to bring in a name act person to come for like 2 weeks, like a Peter Frampton would be the guest, and it's an acoustical show.
Yeah?
So it's a rock acoustical show, and so for the baby boomers, it's really great. I went and saw it in Nashville, and I met with some top booking agents in Nashville that are wanting to bring some big names here, and really
Oh,
help.
I need to share my idea with
They
you.
see the vision that I have for Branson and getting it as a younger demographic. So stay tuned. It'll be a lot of fun things coming up in the next year or two.
That's the key, is the
Yes.
younger demographic. That's why we started this. That's why we started this whole podcast, was to appeal to a younger demographic that's on the internet and wants to know what fun things there are in Branson, rather than when I travel, people still have that misconception of
Yes.
what Branson is. In fact, last year I was on some cruise ships and they told me not to mention that I was from here because they didn't want to alienate my show. And that
Yes.
was
Yes.
weird to me. Like, we need to rebrand, I guess.
The best thing this year is I had the opportunity to bring Philip Bailey, the lead singer of Earth, Wind, and Fire, down to golf with me. And he said, I don't understand Branson, and what's the big deal of Branson? I said, at the end of the day, if you don't get it,
Yeah.
I'll explain it to you.
Yeah.
Within the first hour, he looked at me and said, I get it.
Yeah.
I
See,
get
the
it.
tourism group needs to pay me, because when I'm on the road on cruise ships, every meal I have to explain what Branson is. And then people
Exactly.
are like, oh, yeah. And I get people that come to the showboat or see me around there said, we came and saw you this year. This is why we came to Branson.
If we can get
So-
you here, we can keep you here. It's just getting the people here.
Right. That's the whole thing.
That's the mission.
All right. Well, when we come back, I have one more thing I want to talk to you about, and that's things that, questions that I've had from locals.
Okay,
That
great.
maybe we can discuss. So
Yay.
we'll be right back. Thank you for supporting All Things Branson. Be sure to subscribe and stay in touch on Facebook and Twitter. Yeah, I'm sure. Me too. Me too. You know, we just finished your number 157 on my podcast in 1 year.
Wow.
We do a lot. Yeah, we talk to all kinds of people.
Good
and
for you.
speaking of which, some things going on, maybe you have something to do with it, maybe you don't. You can just tell me if you have nothing to do with it. But what's going on with the airport? I mean,
With the airport, I really don't have a lot to do with the airport. However, I'm very supportive of the airport.
Me too.
I think for us to be successful, we have to get the airport. We have to get a major airline coming in. And rumor has it that maybe February, March, they'll have a big announcement.
Richard Branson coming to town?
No, I don't know. It could be. I'm not sure, but
No, that would be
I
great.
know that Jeff Bork and them have been doing a fantastic job of trying to replace the airlines that
You know,
we
we
lost.
try to use it. My wife and I, we travel a lot. If we get a few days off, we try to travel. And it just seems like people, I don't know, they're just not supportive. It's not that much more expensive, but the last flight we had, we honestly had 6 people on it. And when we were on it, I said, there's no way they're going to keep flying these routes to, we were going to Cancun. There's no way they're going to keep going to Cancun with 6 people. I love having the plane to
Kind
ourselves.
of like a private plane.
It was. We got to know everybody on the
Yes.
plane and stuff. It was awesome. But
Yes.
I kept saying people need to support the airport. You know?
Absolutely,
You need to go out and
absolutely.
check it. They have great routes now and great prices and stuff. We got in on
we
a deal.
do.
It was a lot cheaper than any place else we could go.
Absolutely. So, flybranson.com, check that out first before you do anything. And I am a big supporter of the Branson Airport.
Me too. Me too. And what about the downtown project thing?
The downtown project is a project that I inherited. And I have to say that I do applaud the board. They have taken a step back and looked at what worked and what didn't work.
Yeah.
And to be real honest, the penalty for not completing the job on time was not stiff enough for the person to be motivated to
The contractors
work.
you're talking
yes.
about? Yeah.
So when we go on to phase 2, that's one of the things that we'll look at. And one of the suggestions that we've made is let's give a large incentive for them to complete the project on time.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's give a large punitive if they don't.
Exactly.
So you have a choice. You can either make money or you can lose money.
Right.
And money is definitely a motivator. So we decided to break, or we're looking, I shouldn't say we've decided, we're still talking about it, but one of the things we're looking at is breaking the project up into different parts within the phase.
Right.
So that you have the chance to get this incentive, a second incentive, a third incentive, and a fourth incentive, but where it's really attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's the key is, holding the folks a little more accountable than has been done in the past.
They were a
But-
little, I don't know much about it. I went through the same thing in my hometown. They did almost the exact same thing, and you could buy little bricks and support the project and all this stuff. Same thing. It went really long, almost twice as long as it was supposed to back there.
It's horrendous.
Yeah, but were they just too, well, we were talking about this earlier, too ambitious? Did they not think some things through? Because I heard that there's issues with like trucks getting through now or buses, or I don't know much about it. But have they had to readjust things, do you know?
We have had to look at readjusting. We did a walk around a couple of weeks ago. I think it was a couple weeks ago. They kind of all run together. But to really look and see, are there things that we can tweak and change to make it to where it works for everyone?
Yeah.
So we will be discussing it at the Board of Aldermen meeting this evening, and they are having a town update Wednesday evening.
Mm-hmm.
So we are trying to be very proactive.
Yeah.
About
but in
it,
all
and-
fairness, it wasn't your project.
In all fairness,
not making blame,
I
but
did
you-
inherit this one, and it's one of the things as we move into the Spirit of 76 project, we want to make sure that we have all the kinks worked out,
Right.
and we're ready to go, and that we.
Oh yeah, because
we
this
are-
could be a
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, because that's a big project,
Yeah, it
and
is.
downtown's a big project. That's a big project. So we want to make sure
Yeah.
that we have all our ducks in a row. And I do applaud the board for stepping back and saying, hey, what did we learn from this process?
Yeah.
So
What's been your biggest surprise or disappointment when you take off? Something that you just couldn't. Is there anything that you really thought you could get done and you find out that it's just not within your power? Or
I'm not a voting member, so I can't really vote to change anything. But what I can do is I can set the tone, and I can really have conversations with folks to try and share my point of view, and and be respectful and listen to their point of view as well.
Right.
And so building those relationships is, it takes time. It's not something that could be done really quickly.
Yeah.
And so I highly encourage people to really get involved. If there's an issue that you feel very passionately about and very strongly about, at the beginning of every board meeting, we have comments from the public. And so sign up and share your thoughts in a very respectful manner, and we'll listen.
Yeah.
And
not just on Facebook.
No,
Don't just
not
go
just
on
on
there.
Facebook. And I do appreciate people giving their points of view on Facebook. I do read each and every comment, and I take to heart things that are said. Sometimes they hurt,
Yeah.
and you just have to kind of have some thick skin.
Yeah.
Because some of it's in your control and some of it's not in your control.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
And-
Some people I know they may blame you or anyone
Exactly.
for things that you have nothing to do with.
Yes.
You didn't start that project.
I
or
didn't. I
you know.
didn't. And Bee Creek Sewer agreement is one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
We have a document that is very contradicting. One paragraph says you can do something, and then 2 paragraphs later it says you can't do it. So can you do it or can you not do it?
Right.
So we're working very hard to clear up the language to make it to where it's understandable and it's not contradicting. So that's frustrating that process takes time, because
Right.
we've been working on it now for about 6 months. I would have liked to have had it done in the first 30 days, but when
Yeah.
you're dealing with, you've got city, you've got county, you've got the sewer board, it's a lot of people that you have to get around the table, and their attorneys, our attorneys, the other group's attorneys.
Yeah.
It just takes time, and I'm like,
It's a slower process than you expect.
I'm a high D. I want to get it done now. I'm like, I find myself having to go, okay, it's going to get done. Just be patient. And, you hope
Bureaucracy
that,
stuff.
yes, you
Yeah.
hope that the community can stand behind you and be patient. And sometimes on Facebook, there's one side of the story that's told, and, you can't get involved in the conversation, and it's like, well, we're going to bring the press in. I'm like, great, wonderful, let's do that, because then we get to tell our side of the story as well, because it's not always as it is on Facebook.
It's not always as black and white as people make it on
Exactly,
there. Yeah.
exactly. So, I do appreciate that. And every week on my Facebook page and my Karen Best for Mayor Facebook page, I try to recap the week.
We try to repost those for you.
Yes, and people see me out getting pictures taken with entertainers and doing that. That's a big part of my job. I'm an
Yeah.
ambassador for the city, so it's very important for people to see me in public, see me supporting things. So, I try to do that, but then also I try to share the behind the scenes things that you don't see, because people think all I do is out, seeing
Right,
shows
right.
and taking pictures
Zip
with
lines and
entertainers.
stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. But there's a lot of hours that go into that behind the scenes.
All for that $6,500.
Exactly.
So my final
exactly.
question for you is, are you glad that you did it?
I am so happy. I feel like I have the opportunity to really make a difference and really set the tone for where we're going. And hopefully that resonates with folks as they see me and meet me, and they feel my passion. I'm very passionate about this community and the people in this community.
Yeah.
Other communities have golf courses, shopping, lakes, mountains, but only in Branson do you have the Ozarks hospitality.
There you go.
And the people of Branson are what set us apart from any other community in the United States.
That's true.
We are a very unique breed, and I couldn't be prouder
Yeah.
to serve the citizens of Branson.
And we're really happy to have you. And thank you for
thank
talking to
you.
me. And watch for the updates of what's going on around town and get involved.
Please do.
Please get involved. I'm Christopher James.
I'm Karen Best.
It was great talking to you. Bye-bye. Thank you for supporting All Things Branson. Be sure to subscribe and stay in touch on Facebook and Twitter. Check back at allthingsbranson.com for the latest news about Branson, Missouri.